Let's talk a little bit about University of Washington because they got an open job. How good a job is it?
It's big time. I mean, it's in the category of can you win big in jobs. I think there's a lot of jobs that you go win 8 games, go spread them out, move the ball, get to a bowl game, and that's successful. And then there's some other jobs like this one and like USC that are open in this league where you can win big. You know, you can go to the playoff. It's been proven in this era by Washington. It's not like you're just leaning on the past of a national championship, many years ago. So I think they've got the resources. They have the facilities that compete with anybody in the country. They've got the fertile recruiting ground in terms of, the Northwest is kicking out players. The West Coast is what it is, and is able to recruit nationally and when appropriate. So I think it's a big-time job that I think we're all surprised in where it is currently, but I anticipate that it won't take long whenever they make their hire to get this thing going back to the standard, which Chris Peterson brought it back to.
Well, and there are a couple of other big-time jobs like that open as well, right? USC is going to be open. We'll see what else happens here in the next couple of weeks. Are there big-time candidates that are out there for those big-time jobs?
Yeah, I think so. I think, that phrase, big-time candidates, is one that's kind of like defining the CFP, right? It's based on its own interpretation, right? Same thing here. Like, do you want to get Bob Stoops, Chris Peterson, like all the names of people that, probably wishful thinking or saying, hey, can we get one of those types of guys? Like, that would fall under big time probably in any definition of that phrase. But then there's other guys, whether it's Dave Aranda, who I getting mentioned now for a lot of jobs, that I think be a rock star. I look at Billy Napier, what he's done. I've been a huge fan of Kalani Sitake. I was referencing for the USC job, about 2 months ago. You look at Justin Wilcox, what he's done at Cal, he's phenomenal in terms of how he's built that thing. And I get what the last 2 years have been, but nobody's clearly had to deal with the pandemic. Football-wise, probably like their program has been hit. And then there's some assistants that have been head coaches that have a lot of ability. Right? Joe Moorhead, of course, is the first one that comes to mind out of this league. And then there's some people that hadn't been a head coach before that I think are big names. And I would even throw in guys like Brent Brennan. So I think on the West Coast, yes, I understand that there's a lot of big jobs open around the country, and there might be even more. But I believe that there's a lot of coaches that have been preparing their whole lives to be a head coach or have been one and have learned from that experience. Right? Joe Moorhead would fall into that category. And I go back to, a guy in your city, and Coach Carroll. I remember when, we worked on his book together now 10, 12 years ago. And, he's like, man, I think what the first sentence is, I slammed the book shut stunned. It took John Wooden 15 or 16 years to win his first title. And he knew that he wouldn't get 15 or 16 months to get his next opportunity, which was his third opportunity at the time, to be the USC head coach. So he had to really get right. And I say that because a lot of coaches I talk to that have been fired, they say, man, I learned so much that first time around. So to me, big time is probably can't really be dictated until probably 3 or 4 years from now. But I do think there's a boatload of candidates. The Seattle Times had a great article where I looked at it and saw all the names there, and I was like, yeah, there's an area that makes sense for all of those. So I'm not worried about it. I think Jen Cohen is going to do the due diligence as we'd anticipate and